Hey guys, it's a History Nerd, and we are back with another exciting episode of Panzer Corps. So we've got our forces all set up from last episode. Let's go ahead, hit the end turn button, and let's get this thing started. We got 9 turns to get a decisive victory. Otherwise, we're just going to be capturing all the objectives, which quite honestly I think is going to be our main objective. First things first, we're going to take our units that are not ours and get them starting on the quote-unquote siege of Kiev here. And yeah, as you can see, little artillery bits, they're not going to really be doing too much. I'm going to want to focus our fire and slowly eliminate forces one by one. So I think the best way to do that is going to be hitting these guys down here in the south first, where we can actually go in and get them from more than one angle. And already, we're in a good position. So, thank you all who left comments, especially about the commentary style that I'm doing with this, which is just basically telling you guys what I'm doing. And I got a great suggestion of discussing the historical, precedents or backing or why this battle was important in history. So I'm not going to be doing that. And you guys might be wondering, you might be saying, well, History Nerd, you just said it was a good idea. Why aren't you going to do it? Way back when my channel started, like this is going way back in the old days here, guys. I did. With my Civ videos, I would talk about, things of historical nature, and if people had a historical question, they could write in, and I would do my best to answer it. The only thing with that is the quality of the gameplay really suffered because I was focusing more on giving a history lecture than I was on actually playing the game. And I'm kind of doing that right now as I'm struggling for words, trying to think things up. So, well, it is a great idea. And if I did post-commentary, like if I, recorded my voice after I'd played the game, then I think that would be a really, really good idea. I want to go with the machine gunners first. So the reason, or you see, I'm already losing my train of thought. Holy crap, we took some serious losses there. Yeah, so the thing with that is, like, I'm not focusing enough on the game, and gameplay really horribly suffers when that happens. So it is a good idea. I love that idea, but I don't think that it's going to be happening. So, I've made the decision for this series that it's just going to be me jibber-jabbering about what I'm doing, basically for the sake of having the gameplay be successful. I'm going to leave the 56 Grenadiers in this town that I'm not going to begin to pronounce, just to hold off any sort of southern push that the Russians might try and get through. We've got more than enough forces here to actually take Kiev. Problem being, of course, they've got artillery and anti-aircraft and a whole host of weaponry across the Dnieper River here to defend it. So that is going to get a little bit awkward. What I'd like to do is get these old-fashioned, Panzer 1B, Panzer 2C, and the Panzer 3F across the across this bridgehead, which we should be able to do now that that city's wide open. And then we can kind of come in here, take care of all of this stuff relatively quickly. What else is going to be happening? There aren't really any other objectives this far south, so we don't need to worry about throwing away lives. We just need to keep these guys, the Russians here, on this side of the river. So we'll leave, maybe another grenadier and a normal infantry on this side of the river. We'll probably leave the Nebelwerfer as well, just so we got some range. And then that should be enough to keep the Russians occupied. Well, we come along and force them out. This is the plan anyway. We'll see how successful we are. And obviously, I hope we're very successful. And we were certainly successful in capturing that city. So let's go ahead and make sure we actually secure it. Now, we could send a little force down south to sort of secure this area. And, well, basically secure these 3 towns and these 2 airfields, which might not be a bad idea. We'll get a ton of renown out of it. Or prestige. What is this? It's prestige, not renown. This isn't Silent Hunter. So that might be a good idea, but certainly if you take a look at the geography of the region, we want to kind of keep our tanks, strangely enough, coming across the Niesa River through kind of the marshes in between these 2 cities. We don't want to attract too much unnecessary attention. And we'll send that guy there. We can send our 1 artillery down there as well. I figure if we pull maybe the 24th back, 3 infantry, well, 2 infantry, a grenadier, and some artillery should be enough to take care of all this. I'm hoping. And then we can get the main thrust of our force across here and then just down south to clear up most of the objectives. I'm hoping anyway. We'll see how successful that actually is. Let's get those guys in. And then hit that city. And move in and hit the city. And move in and capture the city. Things are going well. We got 2 cities, well, maybe even more than 2. We've only got 2 under our glorious occupation, which is good. And now we just got to figure out what we're going to want to do with the Stuka and our Air Force. And I think probably the best bet is just going to be to start shelling some cities and making sure our bomber is nicely protected. Now, I didn't come in with the big strategic bomber. That's okay. We'll be fine without it. I am going to shift the other 109 that I get just for being awesome over by Radomishiv, just to give us a little bit of fighter cover in and around Kiev, because I imagine the Russian Air Force is probably going to be fairly busy in that region. I know I would be if I was commanding the Russian Air Force. And sure enough, right away they show up. Now they are going to be fairly well equipped. That is for sure. Oh, look at that. It looks like they've decided to add those units in. That's fine by me. We can head on over and do some protection against them. Can we get our anti-aircraft gun? We can get it up. So we can kind of keep the southern flank covered, which is going to be pretty important. Now, for whatever reason, they've decided to move a 152mm cannon right in range of all my infantry. So I am going to make sure they pay dearly for that mistake. Because the more cannons we can take out of the way now, the less cannons we'll have to face in the future, which is important because you don't really ever want to have to face down a bunch of cannons. I guess we can go like this and then clear out the anti-aircraft as well, which will be good. Because you don't want any aircraft either. We got that taken care of, which is good. Might as well do our best to get rid of that anti-tank gun. Move you up, and can we get you in position? Oh, we can. Look at that. We're already in a good position to be assaulting Moscow. Wow, Moscow. We're nowhere near Moscow. We're in a good position to be assaulting Kiev. And we can just get ourselves involved in a little bit of an artillery duel. I am a-okay with that. I'm not okay with moving that tank back into the swamps. So we'll get him moved out. Because that's a dangerous place for a tank to be. And I'd like to move them up. And take care of that other 152mm cannon. They're being incredibly wasteful with their artillery, and I'm not really sure why. I'm not going to lead or get an assault going on the city just yet. That would be a bit too hasty. We'll replace your losses, because we need to. And we can get ourselves across the bridge, where we've got an armored car unit, which isn't that much of a concern, for infantry anyway. But we will want to be just cognizant of any sort of armor that they'll be throwing at us, especially while we've got our armor not quite in range to take care of it, and if I'm honest, not quite good enough to do much either. The last thing I want to do is move my defensive forces onto the river itself, so I'm just going to move the Grenadier there, and then we can get the Panzer, or the Nebelwerfer, in range to just start doing a little bit of annoyances of the Soviets, because I think that's a good idea. We're good there. And now we can head on up north and continue this push. We'll leave those fighters there. They're in a good position. Let's see. The best way to get the artillery in range, I don't think... Oh, that is good. So we can already start assaulting that city. And we can take the city. We can just keep the pressure on the Russians. Things are going to go swimmingly here. Not much I can do. We can get the tanks across now, though, without even having to worry about crossing rivers. That's always a good thing. No. First class for the Panzer, the 6th Panzer. I appreciate that. There's some good people in the 6th Panzer. It's really tempting to go down and see if we can't finish off that infantry. Unfortunately, we couldn't. I stand by it, though. I don't think our Stuka will take enough damage to wind up dying this turn. So that's a good thing. Obviously that the Stuka won't be dying, but I guess if we get you there, we can get you guys in position. With a bit of a tank screen, I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. Although if we're able to, yeah, maybe we will get... Because if we can take that city, we can get, well, our tanks into a horrible location. Although then we could flank over to that city, which we will want to make sure we secure. We don't need any extra Russian infantry coming down, rushing in on things. I couldn't resist that. I'm sorry, guys. I really am. Alright, that's looking good. We'll go to the next turn. Yeah, you see, I'm not concerned about an armored car at all. Because they're really not going to do much. And it looks like, other than my units that are mounted, the Russian Air Force is having a bit of a time. Well, I say that, and now they're going gangbusters. Okay, so this little T-60 showed up at the perfect time. And they're just throwing their infantry away. But, what have we got here? A 2C. We'll move you back. Can we get our 3F down? We can, which is going to be a much better tank for taking out crappy little old tanks like the T60. It surrenders even. So that's good. I'm glad that it decided it didn't want to serve the motherland any longer. I appreciate that. And now we can start moving these guys out and getting in a good position to really do some damage to this armored car unit. Which will be nice. They'll probably retreat, but we're going to follow and start dealing some damage of our own. We'll get the crappy little 1B across. And then that is going to be about it for the amount of infantry and armor that we can get across. But we're looking good. You stay. Everybody's staying where they should. I almost forgot. You're kidding. Come on. You're better than that. Where's my fighter? We'll go like that. And thankfully, only the I-16 fought back, not the MiG-3. Not that I'm all that concerned about MiGs. They're not, you know, the jet MiGs, which are concerning these days. They're just dinky little airplanes. Where would be a good... I guess there really would be the best place to go. We want to clear out the trenches. So we can get... So actually, yeah, moving you there is a good idea. We can move you back, and we can replace your losses. What else are we doing? I think the scout car might do a bit better down here, where we're going to be far more mobile. And now, it's probably a good idea to just start hitting Kiev for all it's worth. They're not going to retreat. That's fine. And then we can move that in and capture half of that objective. We can move these guys back, because they do need to replace their losses, and move those guys in. And now, will these guys be able to move up? No. Can you? Yes. There we go. First objective secured. We've got Kiev under our greedy little mitts, and it's only turn 3. That's not bad. That's what I call a good situation. Let's get the Grenadiers up. They should be able to do plenty of damage. Almost enough. Please retreat. Are you going to retreat? We got a movement bonus. I like movement bonuses. Or boni might be a way to put it. I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but it is a way to put it. And if we can... Yeah, actually, if we can leave you set and ready, we'll get you a little bit closer. But next time, obviously, we're going to take this place. And then we can get the tank down to hit the artillery without hurting our own forces. That's a win-win, ladies and gentlemen. Yay! More attack for the Panzer, for the 6th Panzer. That's good news. They're my golden boys. They're my go-to units. I'll finish you off. Not going to use the Pioneers to do any attacking. Oh, I might have to. Really? Oh, I misplayed all of this. I was hoping I could finish those guys off, but it's not looking like that's going to be all that possible. I guess to make sure they don't come back, the Stukas will finish off those infantry. And that's just fine. We should be... See, I'm cautious. Although I doubt there's going to be any Russian forces over there, I'm still cautious about mounting up my units on the front. Because that's just a dangerous thing to do. And the Soviet Air Force has already proved that it's more than capable of... That is a bad place to cross. They've got infantry all along the waterline. We don't want to have to deal with that. And I think that's going to be about it. We can actually, yeah, we should move you closer to Kiev. Can we? Yeah, both of them are going to have to mount up. That is a shame, but we might as well get him in position. Well, we can. And I think that's going to be it. We're looking decent next turn. Even suppressed, they're hitting that I-16. I like it. And now the abundance of Russian aircraft is one of the reasons why I want to try and secure as many airfields as I possibly can, just so they're not able to resupply themselves and be jerks. Which they will be. Nothing out of that, huh? Okay, okay. We can work with this. And what we're going to want to kind of try and do is cycle our units so we can get effective firing. And I'm okay moving him across the bridge right now. All we really have to worry about is a bunch of artillery, which isn't really a worry at all. Especially not when we can get right up close to them. Unfortunately, they are supporting each other. But I figure if we go for the one that's weaker, then things will be better. Go ahead and do that. Get you guys across. Get our other gun in place and go ahead and replace your losses as well. We might as well move up our anti-aircraft. Oh, you know what we should do with that? Well, we've got a chance is to just replace their losses because we do have a fighter in the region to take care of that MiG-3. And that's looking pretty good there. We're starting to swarm on out. And actually getting ourselves into a position to go after Lubny there, which wouldn't be bad. I'd be okay with that. You jerk stores retreated. Let's get our scout car moving up. Getting good visuals on all the units that are there, which is important for our tanks. Because our tanks have an important job to do. And we can just keep shelling with the Nebelwerfer. And those two units are staying. You see, they're not going to move while I've got a unit there. But they're not going to attack because it would be suicide to attack a machine gun defending a city. Well, let's secure this location. I guess what we could start doing, because it's apparent we're going to be taking the city this turn, no problem whatsoever. Captured in the name of Germany. Yeah, you're going to retreat. That's fine. We'll take that airfield, finish you off. We can even start moving you down there. And we're in a slightly better position to start attacking that city. It's still a little bit dangerous, because we haven't, effectively shelled it or anything. So I'm not going to send the 24th in right yet. But soon we will. Let's see, where would be a good spot to get some fighter coverage? I guess, no, we're not going to be able to hit them in one turn. So we're not going to do that. And they're guarded. I guess maybe that is, this guy right here is the best bet. See, I wasn't sure if that anti-aircraft gun was going to be in range. Lo and behold, it wasn't. So that's good. We'll move you there. Why not? Let's see. How are we going to go about getting that? Well, first off, we're going to send our tanks where there isn't a river. because that's never a good idea. And in fact, we should send most, if not all of our forces around the river, potentially even securing Sumi there. I do want to try and get a decisive victory, though, so time is a little bit of the essence. Time is a little bit of the essence. Time is of... whatever. You all know what I'm trying to say. We got to do this quick. I want to make sure people won't actually come across, though. But for the most part, I think we're safe going this route. Why don't you have trucks? I'm going to need to fix that. And what can we do with our Stuka? We could do... not much. The range on the Stuka, not the greatest. So we'll send you back to fill up the fuel tanks, and then we can send you out to the west and help out there. That seems like a good idea. I think we got all the units we need to move. Oh! Almost forgot you, little guy. That would have been sad. Yeah, that should be it. That's it. Hopefully there's no Russian units here. My god, I'm setting myself up to be just decimated by them. Yes, I don't blame you for surrendering. Big old BT-5 comes across and we have no real anti-tank weaponry. And I don't think a Panzer 1B is going to be all that useful against a big old gun or a big old tank like that. So we'll just get these guys back across, and then we can replace your losses, because we're going to need to make sure you're effectively firing. We've kind of stranded this guy out in the middle of nowhere. I do feel bad for the poor 33rd, so we'll get him moving back. But these guys are basically going to hold a nice defensive line. Well, I mean, we don't need all these units to hold the defensive line. We could send some infantry up here with a supporting tank to, actually, I'll put you there just to cover that truck. And you could do with some loss replacements. And we got any good targets for you? Right there, we got a MiG over a river. Bit of a dogfight. We can send in the 5th. They're looking a little chewed up. But they're doing okay. And that's really all that matters. I guess actually getting some intel in between here wouldn't be a bad idea. Okay, well that's not a concern. Just an anti-aircraft gun. We'll get the rest of our tanks moving along. Hopefully finish off this anti-tank gun. We'll finish it off with, you know, only hitting it. There we go. Now we're taking care of that anti-tank gun. And we can start moving in and taking care of artillery, which is always important to take care of first. We're not going to be able to catch that jerkwad, but he's not going to be protecting the anti-aircraft gun anymore. Those guys are getting close to dying. Bit of a concern. Mainly because they're not my units, so I couldn't replace them if they were to, you know, expire, which wouldn't be good. We don't want units to expire that I can't replace. There we go. And then we can move the grenadiers up to protect that city, because machine guns are good for defense. In the meantime, we'll get these guys rolling on this side to sort of assist there. They're not artillery, but I figure if we throw enough tanks at a city, we'll take it eventually, right? Right. Alright. Let's move our tanks out into the open where they're going to be the most effective. And kind of just continually advance these guys up. We can keep our artillery on this side of the river while we move our troops in. Of course, being cautious of all the artillery the Russians have. Although that's just a 122mm gun. That's a pea shooter. We got our Stuka rearmed. So we might as well go down here and just pay a visit to some infantry and do nothing effectively. That's okay. We had both our fighters move. That's about it. Next turn. Really? You're throwing everything you have, basically, at that little unit. I was fully expecting that tank to wipe out that infantry. It just took them a lot longer than I was expecting. Okay. Ah, yes, moving the artillery into the city. Always a good idea. Fairly useless tank attack. But what can one expect from such an old, outdated thingy? It's a technical term for tanks, is thingy. I know a lot of you are thinking the technical term for tank is a tank. No! Don't be silly. Now you see, sometimes it pays to have a good solid defense. And with that tank taken care of, I think we can safely start moving our infantry across. There's no support fire coming from that guy. You need a resupply, so we'll do that. We'll move our anti-air up in there, so we can do a little bit of shooty shoot. Also the technical term. And we can start, as I lay the Canadian accent on thick with the way I said start. I'm almost thinking that it's kind of a waste sending all those tanks over. At least because I was able to wipe out the one unit defending that city with ease. But, yeah, that was kind of a waste. Lesson learned. We'll need to get you resupplied. We can move you up and get the artillery in range. Hopefully it does some good damage. Suppresses them a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Of course, attacking from a riverbed is never a good idea. But we don't really have a choice for taking on that guy, which is a shame. We can loop you. No, of course not. We run into contact with that town. Blast. That's okay, though. We'll get this sorted soon enough. At least we can get our tanks in, do some damage. I'm fully expecting that anti-aircraft gun to turn into a anti-tank gun. But we'll worry about that at a later date. Maybe 3 infantry just to take that side city. And I think that is that. At least for this turn. Nope! I'm wrong! Totally forgot about all of this. We'll move up the Grenadiers just to cover the flank. Because you always want your flank covered. Never leave your flank flapping in the breeze. What would be, I guess up there, just teach that infantry a lesson for leaving a city. It's not teaching infantry a lesson for leaving a city. And that is deadly. Okay. Well, we'll go next turn. Things are going incredibly well with this mission. I'm tickled pink. Aside from the fact that the Soviet Air Force is really being jerks. And I think this is going to be the last turn of the video. I've got to be cognizant of drive space with the EU4 multiplayer series that I'm doing with Rogeroux and Deckard 6. We started it on Sunday, the day after the Crusader Kings 2 multiplayer series that we're doing with Paradox. A couple of guys I met on there, and yeah, we're doing a revive the Byzantine Empire, but not being the Byzantine Empire. It's one of the most difficult starts of EU4 I've ever played. And for those who know my channel, you'll know that I'm not exactly the world's greatest Europa Universalis 4 player. With England, I did all right. And England is basically one of the game's many easy modes. But, yeah, it's fun. It's just, we record the videos in batches, obviously. Oh, I should have been thinking. Wasn't thinking. Happens, you know. Forgive me. So yeah, we record the episodes in batches. As is wont to do with series of that nature. So I've got, 5 days worth of videos sitting, raw Fraps files, which, if you record with Fraps, you know, are freaking huge. So, yeah, just gotta be making sure we're not gonna wind up into a situation like the last time I recorded, and running out of disk space, because nobody wants to run out of disk space and have the game complain. Or not the game, but have Fraps complain. Were these? Oh, they were Italian. So the Italians have an air base. Well done, Italy. Look at them contributing. We'll actually full-on replace your losses, as many as we can. And attempt to do as much possible damage as we can to that anti-air unit so we can take the city. And have a victorious little campaign. So I'm going to move that guy there and move that guy there, and that should remove all artillery from being jerks and ruining my day. So what we can do now, I guess we'll have to send you up. Oh, I did not want to lose that many troops. At all. We can send you in. Well, that's good. Hit the city, at least. And we do have to worry about the conscripts. They are big units. Again, attacking over a river, not always the best idea. But I never claimed to be a strategical whiz. Oh, come on, seriously? I just like pretending I am when I play a video game. So yeah, so the EU4 multiplayer series, episode 1 went up on my channel today, and if you're at all interested in the grand strategy, I don't know why I said it like that, but hey, I did. You guys should check it out, and let me know what you think of it. Yeah, that should be good, and I guess we could even move you up like that. Hey! Why not? I am in command, after all. That is going to be a good place to leave the video for today, I think. So, thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. Leave your comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, jokes, musings, what have you below. Thank you all very much for watching, we'll see you next time.